Hi, welcome back to CapexForexTrading.com. In this video, we're going to discuss the momentum indicator, which is used to measure strength and weakness of a trend. So if you're a trend trader, this is an absolute must indicator to use. And the reason why is because it provides us with good signals for entering and exiting a trend. Now, before we get into how to trade the indicator, the one thing you need to bear in mind is that this is what's called a leading indicator. This means that it works slightly ahead of price. So what it will do is provide positive reading for us before a trend actually begins. So it's a kind of a very good predictor of trend creation. What you also must bear in mind is that the lower the time frame, the more choppier the indicator is. So I've got the indicator in this window here, and I'm currently in the daily time frame. But if I scroll or move time frames downwards, you can see H4, H1, M30, and the lower I go, the more choppier the indicator gets, eventually until we get to the M1 time frame. So what we're gonna do for the sake of this video tutorial is keep the time frame in the daily time frame. So how do we trade it? Well, the first thing we need to do is draw a horizontal line at the center point of the indicator. And so we need to set the value at 100 and double click that line so it doesn't move. Now, other pieces of software use the value of 0 for the center point, but don't worry, the actual placement of the line is exactly the same as what I've done here. It's just that some brokers tend to use 0, some brokers tend to use 100. It does not matter. They're exactly the same point, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, there are three ways in which we can use this indicator, and the first one I'm going to go through now. The first way focuses on the center line that we've drawn on our charts just a second ago. And realistically, the only thing we need to do is identify on which side of the line the indicator is on. Is it above the center line or is it below the center line? So if I get my cursor here and we correlate this with the price chart itself here, you can see that as I move my cursor to the right where the momentum indicator is above the center line, you can see that we have an uptrend. When I place my cursor at the place where the momentum indicator is below the center line, you can see that we have a downtrend. Okay, and that is as complicated as this gets. The only thing you need to make sure you don't do is trade in the opposite direction. So i.e. don't place a buy when the indicator is below the center line, and don't place a sell when the indicator is above the center line. So you can see just from that simple example how powerful this indicator is because it's a leading indicator. So as I said, the only thing you need to do is make sure that you don't trade in the opposite direction of the indicator itself. The second way in which we can use this indicator is by looking for divergence between prices and the indicator itself. So what we've got here, for example, is prices making two lower lows. So we've got a lower low there and a lower low there. At exactly the same time, the indicator is showing us something completely opposite. So we've got a low here, but we have a higher low here. So you can see that prices and the indicator are going into opposite directions. So whilst we've got lower lows in the price chart, we've got higher lows in the indicator window. So essentially, in the way in which we would trade this if it was a strategy, we've got a formation or a version of a double bottom being formed here. So what we would normally do is trade or place a trade at this point, which is equivalent to that middle peak here, which is in between those two lows. So we've got the peak there and we've got the two lows there. Once price gets to a price level that's at the same level as that middle peak, we would place a trade. So as you can see, this diversion trading with the momentum indicator would have worked here. The profit we would have been looking for was 121 pips. That's about right. Yep. In fact, what we would do is trade the lower side. So we were looking for about 100 pips, and that'll be around here. So we would get out at this level here. So you can see that this way is just a very simple way to trade by using the momentum indicator and the divergence between prices and itself. The last way in which we can use this indicator is by looking for a breakout. So in terms of our example, if I just join these lows here, you can see that we have a standard trend line that joins various lows in that uptrend. And then we have a breakout here, which is normally where we would take the trade, make a sell, and then profit from all of this decrease in prices here. We basically need to do exactly the same thing in the momentum indicator. So we need to match up the lows of the trend line with the lows of the momentum indicator. So we will just take a trend line and just draw that right across here. So we're joining these lows and these lows with these lows and these lows. So as you can see here, if I just get my cursor, what we have is a breakout of the momentum indicator line. But at the same time, at this point here, we haven't got a breakout in price. So we leave this line in the price chart to be as it is, but we would move the momentum indicator connections a bit further down. So now we're connecting this low with this low. So what happens here? We now have a breakout in this area here of the momentum indicator. And what is happening in the price chart at exactly the same time? Look, we have a breakout just here. And this is where we would take the trade and normally place a profit target that's equidistant to the top of that uptrend there. So we're looking for 217 pips. Not quite. 217. Yeah, we would actually. We probably would have got, yeah, no, we would have got them at this point here. So we would have had to wait a little bit till we have a couple of retests, which is here and here. But essentially, soon as the momentum indicator breaks, as long as we have a price break at exactly the same time, that's a good confirmation for us that we're able to take that trade. Okay, guys, that concludes this lesson. So as always, please subscribe to our channel or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn or Google+, and we shall see you for the next lesson.